Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to All About Healing. I'm your host, Emily Francis. Thank you, VitaJewel, for being the show's sponsor. Again, you can check them out at VitaJewel, JUWELUSA.com. And today's guest was Lynn B. That's B like boy, B Robinson, PhD. And that was so crazy that the original website was a different Lynn Robinson. So this is Lynn B. And it's the book is Loving to the End and On. And I'm such a fan of this topic because it means so much to me. And it was how my whole life changed when my friend's dear significant other passed away very suddenly. And he woke us up nightly for about a year teaching us different things about the afterlife and all the things that I used to believe in, or I don't even know that I believed in it. I was really kind of open and not very knowledgeable. Everything changed in that year. And when you start to open your mind and you start to shift the trajectory of where your life is headed based on a whole different belief system or an openness that you might actually not have all the answers, you might not know everything, maybe everything that people have told you to believe in isn't the end-all be-all, and maybe people shouldn't be criticized for being wrong, right or wrong. I think spirituality is so much bigger than that, and it was hard. It was a hard transition when I started learning all that because people that didn't agree with me tended to leave my life. And I had to, in a lot of ways, start over and collect a different energy of people that were more open. And I still experience that. So I love this book, Loving to the End and On. It's got a lot of different personal stories. She also was a hospice volunteer. So she does discuss the dying process and also the way that we approach healthcare and healing at end of life. And also she is an intuitive and can speak to spirits from the other side. And it's really nice to hear from people that live a life based on that. And it is coming out of your closet because, you know, people can use that against you. I've had that used against me, and it's tough. It's tough to defend yourself on being a spiritual person rather than a singular religious person. Okay, so now going into the energy corner, I have a reoccurring thought, which you know is the basis of Emily's Energy Corner, is what are the messages that are being sent to me over the week, and how do I help to transcribe those messages for people that are listening? And I had this thought the other day, and I actually even submitted it for an article, and I hope it gets published. But I've joined a yoga studio, and I haven't put that out on Facebook. I don't want it to be something that people discuss of like, oh, how are you looking? How are you feeling? I just don't want to do that. But I needed a practice back in my life, and it feels really good. And it also is tough to show up. That's the meaning. It's not just discipline. It's because of the fact that I have dealt with anxiety so much, it tends to trigger some of that again. And I'm realizing that it's a combination of discipline and brave. It's your inner brave that calls out to you. And can you show up again and again and again until that scary, fearful thought voice tends to go smaller and softer than the voice that hopefully is triumphant? But first you have to find out that you have a triumphant voice in you, and then you have to learn how to tap into that voice and let it go with you. Because the fear thoughts are louder. They're more fun to listen to. You don't think they are, but they're more fun to listen to. They're more animated, and they're on fire really in your head. So it's hard to, turn around and say, you know what, I don't negotiate with terrorists, and that's what you're being right now. You have to stop and go into a positive thought. So showing up for yourself again and again for whatever it is, whether it's a practice or a belief or a behavior or a exercise, whatever it is. I've realized that a lot of people that get off their exercise path isn't necessarily just because they got lazy. They might actually have something going on where it's really tough for them to show up. And I had a conversation with somebody on the phone that when she talked about how much she wants to get back into exercise, but she's really lost her way, she started crying because it's become so much more than just, oh, I got to go work out. It's that it comes with a lot of emotional baggage there. And it's tough to just show up alone. You don't have friends that are there, potentially. You might make friends, but you might not. This might be your thing. And it's not just about exercise. It's anything that you miss or feel like is is a piece of your puzzle, your personal puzzle. And how do you get that back, or how do you make it new? You don't have to go backwards, right? You don't have to be somebody that you used to be. How do you turn that into something that is new and ahead? How do you create a better version of yourself that you may not have ever had before? And those things are really important, but that is part of being brave. That to me is an inner brave that calls out. And it made me think of this person that I met briefly in the yoga class, and she's a decent bit older than me. And she's long and she's lean, and she made the comment that she too still wrestles with that inner voice that says, keep driving, keep driving. And then she comes in and she finally settles down and gets on her mat and goes to what she needs to do. But something happens to this person, and it's not just this person, it's really everybody across the board when you're into any practice that changes your energy. While you're in that practice, while you're engaged in that space, whether that's a meditation space, an exercise space, a spiritual space, a non-spiritual space, your energy shifts and you become someone else. But just while you're there, you leave potentially the same person you were when you walked in, but something shifts in the middle of that. And I called it her inner brave, or it's kind of superhero-esque, because this woman, she's, I don't know, she's nice, she's tall, she comes in, she's wearing a do-rag, she means business, you can see it, she means business. But everybody's quiet, nobody's making friends, everybody's on their mat, and your world is like just your little mat. But when she gets on there, and all of a sudden she can do these amazing poses and movements, and her face structure changes, and the energy inside her and around her changes. And I have to tell you the truth, she becomes a badass. She just does. She becomes like a queen, mama, sexy beast, badass. Something just transitions in her, transforms her into something amazing. And it might even happen to me when I'm in my practice. I really don't know. I don't know. I can kind of feel different things, but I'm still kind of battling the beast for me. So mostly it's about showing up. But this woman, her energy was so different while she was in a practice that all I could think about was, does anyone in her life know this person? That person that's on the mat, that's in that practice, that becomes this beast, that becomes so incredibly comfortable in her skin, and who knows who she is and how to move that body and how to embrace that space and strength and stamina and dynamic self. Does anyone in her life have any idea that that person exists? Because they might not, because they're not there in this class. And I don't know if her energy transforms to that level in any other place. But what if that's you? And not just what if, it is you. You just have to figure out where it is that your energy transforms into that sexy beast, because that's what happens. So figuring out where you want to be, how you want to do it. Find something that makes your inner beast come out and take charge, even if it's just for an hour a day. That's the thing for Energy Corner today, is find it, show up for yourself, fight that call, answer that calling of inner brave, fight that calling of fear, and become the best version of you. You've been listening to All About Healing, and I hope that between today and next Wednesday you found something to unleash your inner beast. Have a great week, everyone.